Welcome to CEO Talk Mumbai. This is an initiative by The Talk. My name is Muthu and I'm the founder of Crumbles, an organic and millets-based cookie store based out of Coimbatore. And I'm going to be the anchor for the day. CEO Talk is a platform that helps to save ideas and insights to transform the organizations and create better, meaningful relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. It's country's leading service of enabling the community and communication solutions for business services ranging from continuity, collaboration, cloud security, IoT, and marketing solutions. Tata Tele Business Services offers target portfolios of ITC service for businesses in India. I'd love to welcome the lovely panelists who have joined us today. We'll start with Mr. Hitesh Kozain, the co-founder of OnSport. So we'll just give a round of applause to panelists since it's an online event so that everyone will be encouraged. Thank you so much, Hitesh, for joining with us.
Yeah.
Mr. Safir Sani, CEO and founder of Transmeo. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us today. Mr. Vinay Kalantri, founder and CEO of Q Processing Services Private Limited. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Avinash Gorkindi, MD and CEO of Zaggle. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us. Mr. Rishi Jagmohan, AVP Talent Development, Business Excellence and Digital Strategy at WorkHard Limited. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining with us, sir. We have Mr. Sanket Save, Zonal Manager, Tata Tele Business Services, Mumbai. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us. Welcome, sir. And yes, we have Ms. Janice Das, Regional Marketing Head, Tata Tele Services Limited, Mumbai. Thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome to today's show. We would like to kick off with Janice, ma'am. We would like to hear a welcome note from you. It's all yours. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself. Here's a request for you.
Sir, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yes. So I'll give a short description and introduction of Tata Tele Business Services and what is it they are currently focusing in the market. So we are all aware with COVID-19 pandemic, has reshaped the business environments across, which has led to digital tech capabilities taking the center stage to ensure business survival and growth. So therefore, digital agility is a critical factor for the newly remote workforce to communicate and collaborate effectively, and for employees and customers to have reliable access to applications and services that they need. Now at Tata Tele Business Services, our focus has been to continue to empower the businesses with innovative bespoke solutions that help the SMEs maintain their business continuity. We are all aware, and there are enough data which is available, which says that the speed of digital transformation has accelerated across SMEs in 2020. And we all know, the outbreak of the pandemic, it has been the main catalyst for doing so. And we have also seen from our experience, from our organization experience, that there has been an uptake in the adoption of new age digital technologies like cloud-based solutions, collaboration solutions, IoT, and data management solutions across industries. Therefore, also with Industry 4.0 being a key growth driver for us, our growth strategy is centered around strengthening our portfolio of services, especially in the areas of SaaS, IaaS, IoT, and cloud, while simultaneously enhancing our network, channel, and sales capabilities to cover as much of the enterprise footprint as possible. We shall continue to play the role of technology enabler to the enterprises by providing digital platforms that significantly impact the competitiveness of our customers and enable them to do big. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janice, ma'am. That was very kind of you to listen from you. We'll quickly move on to Sanket Save, sir, to kickstart off and set the tone for today's productive session. To start off with you, a small note of address from you, sir. Opening remark from you.
Yes. Hello, hi. Good morning, everyone. So at Tata Tele, during the start of the pandemic, most of the enterprises were confused as to what is the next path that they need to take. We being pioneers into digital transformation, on our shoulders to hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
am I
Yes.
audible? Or
Yes, yes.
yeah, sure. We had a huge responsibility. First of all, to empower internet to rather to enable and provide internet, a quality service internet to a lot of to all the SMEs who are availing our services, so that they can remotely work from home. And then as and when we went through the journey, we realized that it's just not the internet that is going to help SMEs do their business. It is also the various SaaS products and the IoT products that we need to relaunch. So in the whole, in this critical period, we launched quite a few interesting products, be it cloud telephony. We made some inroads into IoT space. We made some inroads into cloud space, digital marketing space. So all these products is something which we worked upon, and we have successfully delivered it to our enterprise clients in this times. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Sankit sir and Janice ma'am, for joining with us today and setting the tone on a very high note. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now quickly proceed to the discussion round. But before we start, I'd like to share a few points with you before we start. There'll be a set of few questions posed to each and every one of you, and so that everyone can share upon their views. The first few questions we'll keep it very short notes so that everyone gets a chance to speak. Post which there are few questions where we'll be expecting your elaborate answer. Right? So once I pose the question, I shall give the turns to each and every one of you so that I can unmute and speak. Right. The first question for the day is, it's a very obvious question, right? So I would like to hear from you. How has the pandemic affected and its impact on your business and revenues? Right? So how has the pandemic affected and its impact on your business and revenues will be the first question for the day. We'll start with Vinay sir.
So I think the pandemic has actually been very good for the digital payment space, and I think Avinash will agree with me on that. Because digital transactions have grown, and I think they have really grown well and for everyone. So I think it's been a very good thing for businesses like ours, which is in the digital space and card issuance especially. People have started using a lot of digital transactions for their daily needs and for their daily chores as well. So I think it's been good for businesses like ours in the digital payment space for sure.
Thank you, sir. And you're absolutely right. Many of us are moved into the digital transactions. Let's quickly move on to Avinash, sir. Since he had called you for reference, Avinash, sir, please tell.
From a business perspective, the pandemic has been, a demon kind of an event where, consumer behavior, business behavior is fundamentally altered. When demon happened, everybody said no more to cash almost. And now everybody is saying yes to digital. So if you have a digital business, whether it's payments or you have a SaaS platform or a combination of the two, anything where you're digitizing some activity or a function of a company or an individual's life, I think you're in demand, and the tailwinds are with you. So from a business perspective, it's been great. From a human perspective, of course, the pandemic has been terrible. But I think humanity has figured out how to cope and come through as winners.
Thank you so much, Avinash, sir. Let's quickly hear from Hitesh, sir.
So we were into events, and events have been sort of the first ones to get heavily affected. And although there is a significant turn towards digital events, but because our business was driven by monetization of events through sponsorships, so that has sort of taken a lull. It's a significant deep impact, especially because as we seeing markets opening, I don't think any of us is looking forward to attend a sizable event very time soon physically. Uh, Conferences, etc., are still about to happen, but the world is moving digital. And brands are opening up to invest in digital intellectual properties, but that will take some time. So we are sort of in the midst of something where we are thinking that how should the business be transformed. From a personal perspective, I think, unlike Avinash, who mentioned that it's been taxing, I think it's been fairly refreshing because a lot of us have taken a lot of, personal sort of refresh in our careers where we've been sort of running around doing things which was most transactional. Now, I think I'm sitting right now in a Chandigarh and I'm at my home and sort of have been able to sort of spend time with family. So I think, yeah, these are things which have, all of us, practically all of us have sort of taken the time off to decide what we want to do and how we want to sort of take it forward. And I think it has been professionally, I'll not say bad, but I think it's more like a decision-making time. And personally, I think it's been fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hitesh sir. Let's really quickly hear from Safil sir. You can share your views. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Safil Sunny, CEO of Transneo. We are basically into oil and gas segment. So during the initial times of like Q1, if you evaluate the initial quarters of the pandemic, so we were affected a lot. But the thing is, like after the digitization, after we replanned everything and we migrated every meetings and discussions with the customers and the prospects as well as the end users through the digital platform, it's getting better and better after we implemented the digital strategies here inside the company itself. So for me personally, I think I usually travel a lot during earlier times, but now more time with the family and all the employees are also working from home, and now the things are getting better. And digitization in terms of our company is running 100% digital right now, including the deployment to the complete deployment and everything. It's pretty good right now, but in the personal note, the pandemic affected in many places very badly.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that was a complete mix of opinions from the speakers we had today. Now, talking about the pandemic and about its impact, I would like to ask a very quick question so that you can take 30 to 60 seconds to answer. How do you foresee the second half of 2021 post the unlock? So the vaccine is almost here. So we are almost at the verge of into unlock. We are moving towards the new normal and all that. So as an entrepreneur, how do you see the second half of 2021? We'll again start with Vinay sir for this round.
As an entrepreneur, you always see every moment as a challenge, right? So you accept the challenge and you move forward. And I think you do your best and just leave the rest to what has to happen. I think 2020 has not been bad. 2021 has not been bad. So be positive and just move forward. I think that's what an entrepreneur has to do. If he starts worrying about what he has done in the past, I think he will never be able to see the future brighter and even the day today that he's living brighter. So I think he needs to focus on what is today available for him, achieve what he needs to achieve, and actually grow from where he is instead of bothering about what's happened in the past. So I think see everything as a positive part. As even Hitesh and even Avinash said, yes, I agree with them that it's very important to see the positives of everything and the negatives of everything as well. But you analyze it and you make the best decision out of that. And I think that's how you pursue your life, and that's what you need to do. So I have no regrets and move forward with a positive note, and let's see how the year goes out for all of us.
That's very positive and optimistic to hear from you, sir. Let's quickly move on to Rishi, sir. So I'd like to combine it to Rishi, sir. How has pandemic affected your business and its revenue, and how do you foresee H2 post unlock, sir?
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and wishing you a very happy new year, and wishing you a very, very winning 2021, as the name itself has won in it. Okay, with respect to healthcare, I represent Wockhardt. I take care of talent development and digital marketing. So I would say that it has been a mixed bag for us because particularly from the chronic segment, our segment has grown
Okay, but with respect to acute segments, many of you must be experiencing yourself also minor ailments. You don't go to a doctor for the fear of getting a disease like COVID and other things. But for the chronic segments like diabetes or nephrology or neurology, these segments are something which have been stable and they have grown. So overall, the pharma industry, healthcare industry has grown in the range of 8.5%. And we are grown much ahead than the industry. But question is that, uh, it is also an outcome of the COVID conditions also. Because the associated COVID conditions, when you develop an infection in the hospital, you have to take antibiotics and fever-related medicines. So that is what is also one of the reasons that healthcare and pharmaceuticals have grown. I will answer this in one more point also. Muthu, I'll take one more minute because maybe I'll have to move on from this section. I'll join from mobile then. But I will also like to say that, having come from the digital space, I've also got a book called Are You a Digital Dinosaur? Pharmaceutical industry has been the last to move into digital. They are dinosauric kind of thing. So they got a kick in the butt because of the COVID conditions. And as a result, this working from home conditions, all those things were think of past, never thought about in pharmaceutical. But these things have become pretty normal now. And I think these are going to be the norms of the things. So these equations are going to change a lot. These equations are going to make a lot of difference because there is going to be rethinking the corporates about the use of infrastructure. We have got huge infrastructure across India, across the globe. So in case there is going to be virtual workforce, I'm not talking about sales part, I'm talking about the admin part. So there's going to be reduction in the infrastructure cost, but at the same time, those teams which are going to be working from home or maybe shared workspace, they will be increased in those aspects. There has also been increase with the request from me, particularly I have covered in my book, Are You Digital Dinosaur, that platforms are there, digital platforms are there. For example, if I have got a product, I have launched a digital platform like Viva or Salesforce.com, but the sales guys do not know how to use that. Just to give an example, to take a case of Janus only. So in case Janus is having a wonderful product, but the sales guys, they are not comfortable selling it online. We call it virtual selling or remote selling, okay, or e-selling, whatever you call it. So that technique is very much missing in the people. So that is how it is important that, I've got off the record, other than WOCAD, I'm getting a lot of requests to conduct these kind of workshops, not by the companies, but by the platform companies. Just to give an example, say Avinash is having a platform with him, which he says that Tata Teleservices can use it to engage their customers. But the sales guys need to be trained because it is not that you just give, it is an AK-47. You need to be trained how to use an AK-47, my dear friend. Otherwise, you will kill yourself only. Rather than getting a sale, you will spoil the company's name also, right? So that is a technique which is very, very important. And that's what I have designed a module on remote selling skills. And
sorry to interrupt. There are few questions coming up to elaborate this segment.
Yeah, sure.
So just sorry to interrupt you, sir. Yes, thank you so much for your wonderful points. So coming back to the second question of the day, how do you foresee the second half of 2021? We had heard from Vinay sir about his wonderful optimistic response. We quickly move on to Avinash sir to listen from him.
So I have consistently held this that even 4 months ago, I said that, this is going to be a bumper Diwali 2021. You're going to see a lot of suppressed demand. You're going to see sectors, especially with the vaccine kicking in. And a lot of people I anticipate will get vaccinated in the next 6 to 8 months. The government is pushing very hard for that as well. And post the vaccine kicking in and herd immunity kicking in, which we are already seeing a little bit, I think, of course, Rishi ji has to comment. He is from the pharma industry, unko pata hai zyada. But jo, as a lay person, I'm seeing, I think, lot of suppressed demand is going to, kind of explode. We are already seeing some green shoots. So I'm very, very optimistic, not only for obviously the fintech space, which has boomed through the pandemic, but I anticipate other sectors like cement, steel, pharma, of course, to really, really take off very well in the coming, coming H2 basically.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. Let's quickly move on to Hitesh sir.
So yeah, I think no, I agree with Rishiji, Avinash, and the idea is that there were some sectors which got disproportionately sort of on the respective sides of the balance because of a dramatic change. What we have also seen is a lot of core sectors have got tremendously impacted. Commercial space being a very big sector, which was actually a double-digit growth, and suddenly we all are, for almost a year, we are sitting out of our non-offices and sort of realize that all we need is a bandwidth and a high-quality video cam, and everything works. So as Rishiji is also saying that this is a sort of a new way of life, and things are getting changed, and I think it's getting changed more like a cycle which typically happens over a decade, has happened in like 8 or 9 months. So I think I'm not sure about the bumper Diwali or how it will sort of regroup, but my thought is that some behaviors have changed for good. Like if we were sitting probably in a June or July, I would have said that probably if things get better, then we may move back. But a year of being away from a norm to actually a new structure changes a lot of your wiring, and that's the way I think business have changed. I personally don't see more than 50% of them actually going back to full-time offices. People have realized that no offices just doesn't mean that you're saving on infrastructure. It does also mean that your employees are closer to their families, hence their productivity is higher. And obviously, as Rishiji mentioned, that there is a way to do it, and if it's not done well, then it can probably be sort of the other side of it. But even the employees are taking it in the right stride. We have seen more productivity coming in. Some employers have been sort of very demanding, and some employers have been very, very soft these days. I think we are all sort of figuring out the rule book now, because suddenly there's no check-in, check-outs, there are no travels, there's no, a lot of, I know that a lot of perks we used to give were on travel perks, which have been like zero. So hence compensation structures will change. I think things will change dramatically. It's not a standalone event. It's actually something which, it's like a black swan, which happens probably once in a lifetime at that scale, and which we have seen.
Thank you.
But I think sectors will positively change for sure. We have seen a massive dip in the last 1 year in almost every spending pattern, and it has to bounce back. With what speed, I don't know, but yes, it has to. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Going forward, we'll try to keep it a little short, 30 to 40 seconds, because we have a few more questions to go. We have a lot more to discuss. We hear from Safir sir. How do you foresee the second half of 2021?
So we are expecting a huge growth because you can see that most of the verticals like healthcare, oil and gas, transportation, and those kind of has been disrupted already. So what happens is like they are trying to optimize their resources in a better way. So there are a lot of scope for digitization. For a company like us, there is a huge opportunity is coming up, and we started seeing that. The beginning of the first 3 months of COVID, as I mentioned, we have very small product, and now our product has been scaled to around securing 4,000 kilometers of oil and gas pipeline itself. So after the pandemic, a lot of digitization pivoting has taken place. As you can see that in the healthcare industry itself, there are hundreds of telemedicine platforms are evolved in a short span. In a short stretch itself, like the India government is trying to do the digital strategy for the healthcare sector for a long time, but you can see that in last 6 months there are a lot of efforts has been put forward by all the healthcare verticals. They are doing their level best, so we can expect a lot of changes happening in the digital segment. So we are seeing a good growth in this segment itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's all be very positive. I think that's the only thing we can do right now. And we'll quickly hear from Avinash sir. How do you foresee your second half of 2021 post unlock?
As I previously mentioned, Muthu, I think it's going to be a bumper second half. I think a lot of companies and industries also are going to see a lot of good uptake. And I do think suppressed segments like travel, especially on the retail side, leisure travel is going to see a very good uptake. And in general, I think I agree with Hitesh that anybody who's had a solution which was digitizing or bringing in digital solutions which are of value to consumers and businesses will really see a massive uptake, not just today, because it's a paradigm shift in people's thinking, and those industries and businesses are really going to grow. Flip side is anybody who's not adapted or embraced digital, like Rishiji was saying, absolutely they are dinosaurs, and they are going to get they're going to be history. So that's how I look at it.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all the speakers, for answering very beautifully for the first round. Now, talking about this pandemic, unlock, and everything, the one thing which we never expected that would happen is, as the speaker says, work from home concept. Right? So everyone has started to work from home, so that a lot of companies are thinking whether we can do it in a permanent solution or not. Speaking of which, I would like to ask the speakers today, which method do you think is more effective for your business? Is it going to be a work from home model or a hybrid model, or as usual, the conventional office model? To answer this question or this round, we'll start with Rishi sir. Rishi sir, you can tell us which model is going to suit your business. And since we have a lot more questions to follow up, I request the speakers to keep it short. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I will start where I left last time, that the best model is the phygital model. Okay, the blended approach. I used to say it before the pandemic also, that people should start digitizing the processes, the systems, because I think there was a webinar in the month of February where I told that, the jobs are going to be extinct by about 1.5 million jobs will be extinct. But at the same time, good part is that 2.5 million jobs will be created because of digitization. So I would always advise that it is a blended approach which is most effective. Purely digital, I don't think it will be very, very effective. Purely physical, there's going to be difficulty in that. So in order to optimize the cost and the effectiveness, the efficiencies, I think the blended approach is always better. I think those people who have the products like Tata Teleservices, they will agree that face-to-face selling definitely has their own advantages. Okay, insurance companies, banking, our pharmaceutical selling, face-to-face has to be it, but the follow-up has to be done through digital. So that is where all the processes, the back end can be completed digital. So something where the emotional aspects are there, that has to be face-to-face, but at the same time, those aspects, the back end operations can always be digital. Like the government of India have also made all the IT departments can work from home only. So that is what my approach is.
All right. Thank you.
I will log out now, but I will log in again from my mobile.
Sure, sir. Definitely. Most welcome. All right. So that was Rishi sir, who said that the hybrid model is going to work the best. So let's quickly hear from the other speakers to let us know if there is anything else more interesting for them. We'll hear from Safil sir. Which type of model will be suitable for your business?
So for us, like we ever implemented a small strategy, something like a hybrid model, as you mentioned. So we have one, like every week we have 1 day sync up at office. So we will take care of the sync up with the team. We are not like scheduled for everyone to sync up at office. So we have created a small team over here. So 5 people team maximum at office in a week, or maybe the nearby check-in station. So we have incubated in different parts of India. So they will be easily come and join there from the. So it is easy for us to do like that. So we prefer a hybrid model, and the productivity in terms of after implementing the hybrid model, we sees that a good growth also. So they can prioritize their day-to-day activities, and they can accommodate the work also properly. And we also seen that the number of leaves also get reduced along with the productivity increase in terms of development. But in the case of sales, we still feel the motivation, like the lack of motivation is getting lost while they started in this hybrid model, because earlier there was a one-to-one connection with the team leaders and the sales field executives that they are worked in our company. And so for them, we are still trying to figure it out. What is the best way, hybrid model or a full-time office, or what exactly going to work. Yeah. So for the development, I prefer hybrid model. For the sales and marketing, I think the traditional model still works, at least in our domain.
Okay, wonderful. So yet another entrepreneur who thinks the hybrid model is going to be the future of the business. So let's hear from Vinay sir. What is your opinion on this?
So we basically, as a company, have accepted the hybrid model, and what we've done is at least 30%. Basically, the operational team, which is basically backend team, can work out of home, and we've actually realized that they can actually work out of home for even longer spaces. So period. Sorry. So we basically have let that happen, and we've allowed people to work from home, and that's basically 30% of our staff, which is now working from home. Our team members are also very happy because the productivity is actually increased. Uh, there is less meetings with coffee and tea and biscuits over the table and discussions on different things. I think it's more productive meetings which are happening on a daily basis. So I think people are working more than what they actually work from 9 to 5, and that's what I think is pretty exciting. And it's pure work conversations happening nowadays more than conversations on the rest of the things that happen. So I think it's been very productive for us, and we're very happy working the way we're working right now.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you. So let us quickly move on to Mr. Hitesh, sir, about your view on the model.
Well, I think hybrid has been existing from like a long time. I have worked in a lot of hybrid structures since almost like 10 years. However, there were sectors, right? So there were a couple of sectors. We had a concept of digital nomads for almost a decade, where people who used to sort of never work out of offices. So I think in agencies and in technology companies, I honestly don't see a reason to have a hybrid model, because or they can practically work out of the mobile or the laptop. But yeah, there are some sectors which will probably be closer to hybrid. So on an overall level, I think there will be some organizations which may probably end up having no physical office at all, more like a registered office. But in organizations where, and so in consumer sales, I think in consumer sales digital, I think where enterprise sales is not required, hence the need gap and the sort of structure to actually address the audience physically or be with them on a legit long-term basis is not there. I don't see a reason for them to actually go like even hybrid, but predominantly in almost all the other sectors which are, I see a hybrid going. I sincerely don't see anyone going fully physical for sure. And so that's my take on this, yes.
Thank you so much, Hitesh, sir. And finally, we'll have a few words from Avinash sir regarding his model of preference.
Yeah, so I echo the sentiments or the statements of all the previous speakers. For us also, it's a hybrid model. Couple of things I would want to highlight. One, what Rishiji said in terms of emotional connect, in terms of engagement with the customers, their physical interaction may be required to close a deal. The other is as companies, we are hiring very aggressively right now. We are building a lot of capability and we are finding very high quality talent. So one of the things that we've realized in the last 6 months is that, when you bring in somebody new in the organization, it's a little bit trickier to get them assimilated into the company's culture and, the softer aspects of it when they are working remotely. So I think that's as the economy takes off again and, you see a rebound, you're going to see that kick in more and more that, if you're looking at people who are currently working and who know what they need to do, it's okay, but people who are coming in new, they need a little bit more of physical interactions. Also, I think from a strategic perspective, if you're trying to build a strategy, do brainstorming, in those sort of activities, probably an in-person meeting might be required. But for probably 40, 50, 60% of the work across industries, and depending on what the nature of the function is, you'd see the ability to be able to do it remotely as well. So I think that's been a big myth buster. And as Hitesh mentioned, it's already been there for the last probably couple of decades in certain markets and in India as well for at least a decade. But I think the resistance has broken today. where you had traditional thinking managers who would say, no, मेरी team तो office से ही काम करेगी. That has gone now. Nobody is going to say that मेरी team सिर्फ office से ही काम कर सकती है. Our teams have to, you've got to be flexible and you've got to figure out how to make it work for you as a leader.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. Thank you so much, all the speakers as well. At this moment, I really like to ask this question to Sanket sir. I think he would give us a little more interesting answer, I believe. Sanket sir, you can tell us which model you think is going to be very effective.
Yeah, I agree with almost everybody who's endorsed for an hybrid model. Because yes, it is very important, especially for a sales kind of an organization, to number one, get all the new recruits, aligned to the culture of the organization, which is very difficult if you do it. At the same time, also maintaining relationship with your clients. It becomes very difficult when you do it only digitally, unless you have that personalized touch. It is difficult, at least in sales culture. So hence, I also feel that the hybrid model is the best suited model. Your initial interactions could be face to face, and the rest all follow up could be through digital platforms which are available. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanket sir. All right, lovely speakers. I think at this juncture, I would like to ask you another very interesting question, for which you can just tell us very shortly in a word or two, because the explanation of the same is coming in the following questions. Right? The first part of the question goes like this: what kind of technology adoption you initiated during the lockdown to ensure continuity of your business? Right? So I would request you to keep it very short, in a word or two. The explanation for the same will be after the following questions. So kindly save the better for the last. Right? So yes, sir.
Yeah. So if I talk about, as I said in my earlier speech, cloud-based communication, the 4 pillars, the SaaS, IaaS, IoT, and cloud. So here, customer plays a very vital role in any industry. And the customer is king, the proverb still exists. And if you see, with pandemic, the consumer behavior has changed. And therefore, customers are looking like contactless transactions, because we are forced by external environment, we are supposed to maintain social distancing, and we are supposed to keep safety. So over a period of 1 year, because of COVID, the customer is also looking at now convenience from their home, anytime, anywhere. So, from any device, from any location, from any process. So it is anytime, anywhere, accessibility with the customer is looking. So our newest portfolio, which we have launched, is something called Smart Flow, which is a whole lot of customer, cloud-based communication suites. And it helps you to get in touch with your customers seamlessly throughout. So for example, I'll give you a short one. If a customer needs to inquire about a certain product, for example, I take like Avinash's company or Walkhard or, this. Now we have a facility where when the customer calls, the helpline or the call center, we can patch that customer directly to the sales guy, how the organization wants that call to be. So can you imagine now, earlier it like, I give my query to the helpline says, okay, we'll get back to you. Are you looking at A, B, C, D, E? But in our process, we have this, click to call, facility where there is seamless connection without losing any time, real-time basis. The customer gets connected to the final person who can cater to his need. So, so that's the latest launch, and we are focusing a lot on cloud-based solutions because we don't want companies to invest in the infrastructure. We want them to do best at what they are. And we understand that catering to customer need is the game. People are looking at the convenience of being communicating or transacting from any device, from any place. There should be no boundaries. If I am looking for a solution, I should get it sitting at home, sitting in office, while I am on the car, while I'm in anywhere, I'm in a holiday, it should be accessible to me. So I think that's a step which TTBS have taken towards that.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for sharing your view. Let's go on to the speakers. We'll start with Avinash, sir. One technology adoption, I think you can just say it in the word. Yes, sir.
In a word, I would say for employees, it's Zoom. We weren't much on Zoom before this. So Zoom, from a customer perspective, we saw a flip. 90% of the customers used to take physical cards from us earlier. And now 90% of the customers all take e-solutions, virtual cards. So we've seen a very different dynamic kick in from consumer side there.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Yes, Vinay, sir.
So we basically have seen only two products which we have started using a lot. One is Teams, which is basically for all the PCs that we have. And the second is the Planner. I think that's been one of our very big supportive tools in the lockdown as well as till now. And it's helped us actually keep track of everything that we need to do.
Wonderful. So Teams is here, Zoom is here. Let's hear from Avinash, Safid, sir.
So for our team, we are started using Slack for the internal communication. So that's, I think, more convenient, and we have a lot of workflows integrated along with the Slack. So our CRM, Salesforce, those kind of things is seamlessly integrated with the Slack. So that help us like a huge relief for us.
Wonderful.
Adopting to Slack.
Amazing. Slack, yet again, a new technology is coming up. Let's hear from Hitesh, sir.
I think a video sort of conferencing solution like the one we are on right now, that's the first one, and cashless payments have been the second one. So a lot of entrepreneur time goes in, sort of creating bank accounts and all these, sign-offs, etc. And with all the banks sort of gearing up for this and all the digital payments happening now, so I think that has been a relief. So I think a video conferencing solution, and which we use Zoom, Teams, or Meet interchangeably. And the second is a digital payment instead of a physical payment at every possible nook and corner has actually made life much more easier.
Thank you so much, sir. Rishi, sir?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, sir. So one technology that you adopted that worked well for your business.
You see, we have gone to Zoom before the pandemic only, but I would say that, luckily for us, we saved crores of rupees of travel and hotel expenses of our leaders before the pandemic. But then use of Zoom 1 year before we had a very good learning curve. And today the field force is also our sales guys, and our head office staff is also on Zoom. And we also use Microsoft Teams also. But I keep on experimenting myself. I use various platforms like Adobe Connect, also Google Meets and other things. Even I've tried GeoMeet, but from the corporate perspective, I recommend Zoom as of now, and which people are very comfortable using it, kind of.
Thank you so much, lovely speakers. It's predominantly Zoom or Teams, right? That one technology that all brought us together, or even shrunk the world more and more. So moving forward, like what are some of the biggest challenges faced by the entrepreneurs in terms of adopting the new digital norms? The most of the entrepreneurs, the one technology that worked well was the video conferencing or the digital transformation. But what were the challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur during this paradigm shift? To answer this, we'll again start with Vinay, sir.
So the challenge is basically we're sales guys, right? As entrepreneurs and owners of companies, in front of the company, we're sales guys. So we're very used to interacting with people and meeting them face to face and doing all of that. So it was a very odd and a very different thought process altogether, suddenly going totally digital and seeing people on Zoom and meeting people not face to face. So I think that was one of the challenges, and that was one of the, if I can say, points which was a little, it just became a little more difficult to understand and interact. But then obviously you got used to everything what's around you. So getting into new habits is always good. So adapting to new things is always good.
Wonderful. So Safid, sir.
Give me a second.
Sure.
So actually the thing is, like, we have faced a lot of issues because we are working in one of the security focused industry. So enabling the access to the employees in different location was one of the biggest challenge that we have faced, because most of the like in our office it's a gated firewall, so it's coming through a dedicated optical fiber cable, and we have access to the refineries. So what happens is like when we open up this access across the different locations, because most of the people are sitting from the different locations of India. So enabling a proper connectivity with a proper security was the major concerns that we have faced initially. So we have used different in the security softwares as well as firewall or VPN services to achieve that. So the networking perspective, we faced many problems because most of this connectivity has a huge problem in different parts of India. But now it's getting addressed because telecom network is working fine, but through the VPN or a dedicated IP kind of implementation, it's very difficult. So they require some sort of wired connectivity. So in a compliance perspective, we faced many challenges while we scaled up. So we have somehow managed, even if it is through the internet. And the second problem is the electricity. So in office, it's a dedicated power supply and everything is available. But most of the different parts of India, the power failure is a regular thing. So overcoming that also was the toughest thing. So we have somehow managed that also by providing UPS to the UPS or inverter to the employees, and so somehow we have overcome those kind of difficulties.
Thank you. That's really wonderful, sir. Please, sir, to say how you have overcome and problems that you face. Right. So, Avinash, sir, your word on this.
Yes, I think as an entrepreneur, I think the biggest thing that I miss is the in-person interactions, because we have teams across 8 cities now, and earlier I used to travel very frequently, get a chance to interact with people in person, and a lot of conversations actually happen on the water cooler and on the site, not necessarily in formal pre-planned meetings. So that energy, that interaction, that feedback that you would get as an entrepreneur as to what's happening on the ground, how are your teams doing, what's their motivation level, that check has become much trickier now. And I'm frankly still looking for somebody to tell me if there's a way to tap into that information remotely. Because people tend to open up when you're sitting with them, having a drink, engaging with them, having a meal. That's when your teams tend to open up, not necessarily on a digital platform that much.
Probably you'll definitely get an answer.
Can I come in now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jagmohan Rishi here.
Yes, sir.
I think he has reminded me of a very important aspect, that particularly in the business functions, you have to sell targets to your business teams. Yes. Okay. And selling targets over digital format is inhuman. Selling targets in a physical format is much easier over drinks also. So when you have to give your stretch targets, it works wonder when you're selling it physically, face to face. So recently we had a next year's budget meeting, and we did it. We strategically did not do it digitally. We did it physically.
Okay.
I think what others say? I mean, you must be setting targets for your teams also. Do you see it is easy to do digitally, or is it physically is much better?
I find it very tough digitally. Yeah, absolutely agree.
Thank you, Rishi sir, for coming in up and talking it out. So the physical way of selling the targets is more effective, as he said. So let's hear from Hitesh sir, your take on this.
No, I think as entrepreneurs, the biggest task in front of us is to basically hire the greatest of people, probably not offer them industry competitive compensations, at least in immediately, and expecting them to sort of work doubly hard and stay motivated. And a lot of this comes from the actual touch and feel, engagement, because you're as good as your energy, and your energy doesn't get replicated very easily over digital. And why people join entrepreneurs rather than working for traditional businesses is the same reason. that they want to be in a high-paced, high-engagement kind of sort of environment. And I think, as Avinash mentioned, as Rishi mentioned, that so they mentioned about a very critical type of just the target setting, but I'm talking about onboarding. I'm talking about your comfort with telling me that okay, this is not working, this is working. Your comfort with making suggestions. See, the difference is when you look in the eyes of people and you can make and you understand, like the reason why most of us have taken the most critical parts of our careers, be it professionally or personally, is by just having that trust. And that trust is a very holistic, it's driven by body language. And there have been researchers how presentations, your voice and your tone makes no difference. Your body actually makes a lot of difference. And however animated and however engaging we may sound over the laptop, but that sheer energy and which you want the team to imbibe, and which translates into sales, which translates into their longevity, which translates into them becoming your actual spokespeople, is missing. I think it's also missing because we had realized that the only way of doing it was physical. So I think things are falling back, and especially for fundraising, I think the investor conversations were practically impossible. I've traveled like internationally just to do those 15-minute meetings. So now I realize that okay, I'm saving a lot of money, but I also realize that the other side of it also has become more accommodating to this. Like people, I think Vinay has actually just sort of moved to a different zone. I think a lot of us have actually just changed the way we work, and this change has happened fully digitally. Like we have never practically, I know a lot of people who never even met the team, and the team is growing like 50, 60 people. So I think that aspect of because there is no physical right now, so the absorption on both the sides is getting faster, but there is a need, and I think entrepreneurs are driven more by that physical conversation rather than the transactional, the more mature organizations. And I think for us, it is extremely critical to be able to hire and retain and just the employees and the clients also, that it should be there, or else maybe something else is in store, and one fine day we will realize that that's not important, but that one fine day has still not happened.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hitesh sir. Now, I think we are almost at the verge, towards the end of, we have completed one half, very wonderful. So we have the second half, which we expected to wrap it up very quickly. So following the second half, I'd like to ask you a question. What kind of enterprise solutions you feel can enhance your productivity? So what kind of enterprise solutions you feel can enhance the productivity of your business? We hear from Rishi sir this time. Rishi sir? Rishi sir, are you with us? Right, let's hear from Safid sir. Whether Rishi sir comes. Safid sir, yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
So you are referring about the enterprise solutions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So in the case of security perspective, so we use some sort of MDM solutions, which is mobile device management and hardware device management kind of solutions for securing the data. And we use for Jira enterprise platform for the project management and Salesforce for the sales management. And yeah, and we have automated completely the HRMS solution also for that. So Soho, maybe if you are a starter, you can use Soho. That will be the best option to start with. CRM, Salesforce, those kind of merged together, you can start with that. And for the device management, security is the major concern. So you can use with Microsoft or Intune, or maybe some other MDM solutions, which is readily available in the market. And you can also adopt for some SaaS platform for the HRMS and all. So there are a couple of opportunities, like options, depends upon the organization need, you can go with.
Wonderful, wonderful. Avinash.
So I think today we are spoiled by choice. As Safil mentioned, there are so many options. I think if you were to ask me what would really help, especially a CEO or a founder, is a comprehensive single solution suite, which offers all these. I think there are players like Zoho, etc., who are trying to do this, but depends on the scale of your business. So if there's a single suite which allows you to manage security, manage connectivity, manage employee productivity, those are things which might really help businesses. But I guess it's tough because you have constantly newer solutions that are coming out in the market. I think that's where a lot of companies like us as well, who have a very robust rewards and recognition platform, we have a very powerful expense management platform. We are looking for more and more partnerships with other companies like HRMS companies and other solution providers, where you can do the API integration upfront, and to the customer, to the business customer, you present a unified solution, right? So to the customer, you're giving an end-to-end solution which is covering a whole host of benefits. While on the back end, there are different service providers who have integrated themselves. So I think that's the way forward. You'll see a lot more partnerships in the coming years for these SME and startup segments.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. Vinay sir?
So basically, I agree with what Avinash said, that we use a single integrated platform, which is basically Microsoft. So Microsoft has the video conferencing facility, which is Teams. It has the planner. It has plugins of Salesforce, which we use for our whole CRM for Salesforce, for our sales team. And it has a lot of other features which allow us to track productivity, as well as give the reward and recognition to our employees. So we're very happy with the whole Microsoft suite, which is required for managing our business today. And we are totally synced into it.
Thank you, sir. So, Hitesh, sir.
I think because we have never been in enterprise sales, and I think from the market assessment perspective, especially in the media and entertainment space, a lot of analytics tools were not available, because the measurement of anything apart from television and traditional media was always done, because it was like less than 7-8% of your share of wallet was never done. Now analytics around that has become very critical, and a lot of valuations of investments in digital content is based on that. So I think a lot of products which have come up which integrate that with your evaluation journeys has become, and these are obviously because this is a media and entertainment space, it's a very specific vertical. From a internal to organization point of view, I think I agree to Avinash, Vinay, and even Rishiji that there have been needs of a startup which are very different from, again, enterprises, and a common suite actually makes a lot of difference. All of the people, including Google, Microsoft, etc., have tried to unify their offerings. However, I think the need for specialization at a smaller level of employee base is something which we all look forward to. So as Safil also mentioned that, even if Safil become like 20x, the security needs will still stay the same, because the organizations which he caters to are already the biggest in the space. And that's with all of us, that we may be small, but the organization expect to be equipped and sort of, offering the same amount of, technology level interventions and security triggers, which are expected from, let's say, someone 100x our size. So I think any organization which gives us a suite of structure which can make sure that our protocols are met, our employees are sort of, following the right structures, they get rights, rewards, and recognitions, their, salaries are created on time. But at the same time, follow the benchmarks which are at par with the global best is something which we'll all look forward to. I think we are doing it in parts. Something from Google, something from Zoom, something from Salesforce, something from Zoho. And there's no real solution which we have seen. But I think, as Vinay mentioned, that Microsoft offers a lot of suites. We have Google, who's been offering a lot of stuff right now, but they are good for all. I think vertical specific solutions will start coming in, and that's when I think things will start changing.
Thank you, Hitesh. I think the predominant of the answer was like the digital transformation or the video calling, or that is the kind of enterprise solution that worked well with all the businesses. Right. I think we are almost here. I would like to ask another very interesting question. Maybe you can share your strategies. So one thing that worked very well for your business that you want to share it with the others. So that would be the question. So one thing that worked well for your business. Yes, Rishi sir. Yes.
Okay, Madhu, I'll just quickly take up and then I will log off. Thank you. It was been really nice interacting with the learned speakers. And I would say that platform is one thing, but at the same time, very, very important is that we should also upskill the employees, the sales force to use those. Just to give an example, we gave telemedicine software to the doctors free of cost, but they don't want to use it. You know, they don't want to use it. So that's a kind of, if doctors are getting free telemedicine platform, they don't want to use it. What will happen to the employees? You know, you can take the horse to the water, but it may not drink. So that is exactly, we need to focus on the upskilling part. Secondly, the solution has to be very simplified, like WhatsApp. So I'm really impressed with the Tata Teleservices solution. I mean, I would like to have more details about it. You can connect me offline with me. And these are kind of systems which you would like to have, which can be used by a kid also. So this is my 2 cents on it. Thank you very much. Great interacting with you. You can see I'm driving, so I'm logging off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, so here I have repeat the same question. One thing that worked very well for your business that you want to share it with the others. Let's hear from Hitesh for this time.
I think immediate control on capital expenses and allocating that to sort of make employees perform better, like almost immediately. And I think employees, without being asked, sort of giving them more leverage to perform the task better. I think it took a lot of time for all of us to understand what would that be. But I think once that was done, I think it was not like we are spending higher on something and spending lower on something, but it was reallocation. And I think that's wonderful because our ability to sort of get them to be in sync with us on time. We also had employees sitting in different geographies also. So I think that allocation of focus from capital to enabling anyone wherever they are was something that worked well for us.
Wonderful. So, Safiq sir? So please unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, once again.
Yeah.
So for us, what happened is like after implementing the communication tool properly and everything went we started making everything virtually, the discussions, the planning and everything through the Slack platform within a workflow integration with the custom softwares. So that worked really well. So even the appreciation cycle also just integrated through the platform itself, in the Slack itself. So whenever someone completed a small job or small commit to the, like in terms of developer, if they put something to the Git, and once the automation has been completed successfully, it started notifying everyone saying that, okay, hey, we have achieved this much. So everything is just automated through that time, through the internal communication tool that helped us, like if even people are sitting different locations, that helped us to give the team spirit up and the productivity just goes up very well. So the implementation of proper communication tool and workforce did an awesome job in last 6 months.
That's wonderful. It's been nice, sir.
So I think quite a lot of things which actually kept us, one was basically very simple. It was innovation. I think it gave us time to rethink our business. It gave us time to rearrange our business and our thought processes as well. It gave a lot of time for innovation. It gave us time to come up with new products and new services for our customers. And I think that's what even Tata Teleservices did. And by the way, I'm one of your users as well of the Smart. So it's actually something which is, it gave all of us time to rethink and innovate our businesses. And that's one thing which was very crucial and very important for all of us. So it gave us a lot of benefit as a company to come back with a bang and come up with more innovative services for our consumers.
All right. Thank you, Vinay sir. Avinash sir?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the things that worked well for us during pandemic were things that we did pre-pandemic. So one is invest in people. The other is invest in tech engineering. And if you've got the right people and the right culture, then you can set them, literally free to innovate and to, ideate and to create without actually having to micromanage. One of the things that's really got disrupted through the pandemic is micromanagement. Micromanagers have all found it extraordinarily difficult, and their model has actually failed. So I think if you build a culture which is based on trust and you're based on empowerment, you're going to reap rewards wherever your employees are working from. It doesn't really matter that much. I think we had that, and we continue to invest in that. And that really helped us during the pandemic, and we are seeing the benefits even today.
Thank you so much for sharing your view. I think at this juncture, I would like to ask Sanket Save sir to share his views on how Tata Tele Business Services can support business.
Yeah, so in Tata Tele Services for supporting business, we launched a lot of products, and something, the demand which kept on coming from the customers, we thought that we will do some kind of tweaking of certain products, doing more collaboration, more partnerships, and get some world-class products to the customers. Some of the key products that we launched were cloud telephony. It actually is a lot of communication hassles where our customers were not able to go to office and they still had to attend calls. It could be achieved very easily. A call center industry also benefited from it very, very largely, and now they could be back on their feet very, very soon, supporting the various businesses that they were supporting. We also did a lot of collaborative products, something which is in lines with what Zoom or Tele or your Teams offers. Those products also we brought in. We did big time in security. We thought that traditional telecom also requires a touch of security products, so we brought in our own device management suites. We also did endpoint protection suites. We brought in VPN services. We enabled. So there is a host of products that we really invested in, just to which actually caters to the on-field demand. That's what traditionally telecom has not done. We always had a product which we used to take to the market. Now we've produced, we created products which market wanted. That's what we've done here.
Thank you, sir. It's really lovely to get to know how Tata Tele Business Services are aiding in business in this new normal. Right. So I think we are moving to a little lighter question. So I would like to request all the speakers to answer, including Janie's. Like, what do you read and watch to get business updates? And is there anyone who influences you? Right? Any leader or a person who would influence you? So there are two questions to answer. One is, what do you read and watch to get business updates? And the second question is there any person or leader who influences you? We'll start with Jenny first. Jenny, sir, are you with us?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Influencer, I'll start with what typically I read. I read a lot of stuff in ET, and especially the SME part of it. Reason being, I cater to the SME segment of TTBS. So therefore I try, and plus a lot of digital assets like, SME Chamber of India, SME channel, then in terms of, in order to update myself in the BFSI sector, Dalal Street and money control. So these are a few things, I try to update myself and keep myself updated. And in terms of influencer, I think I read a lot about, the ex-CEO of Pepsi, Indra Nooyi. I know, and I mean, the scale at which she is, and I've read her autobiography and all that. I think I'm really impressed by her. And of course, Google, Steve Jobs is something which keeps inspiring me even today. So I, whenever, I need some sort of clarity in terms of leading an organization, evolving an organization, transforming an organization, I refer to his articles and TED Talks and videos.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So Indra Nui and Steve Jobs are your influencers. Thank you. That's wonderful, huh? Yes, Vinay sir.
Vinay, you're on mute.
My inspirations have usually been a lot of books. I read a lot of books, so they actually give me a lot of thought process and a lot of things that I like to implement in my daily life. So one of my favorite books is Good to Great, then Hyper Focus, uh, Titan of the. So all these are my favorite books, and a few of them, Psyche of Money, which gave me a lot of thought process. So I love reading my books, and they are my biggest inspiration. And autobiographies, of course, I do read a lot of autobiographies as well. But one of the ones which I really like is about Hitler. So if you've read the book on Hitler, it's brilliant. I think it's one of the most exciting to see his journey and to learn from him. So a lot of things which inspire me and actually give me the way to go forward in life. Influencers, I think all these books are the biggest influences in my life. I think they teach me every day of my life how to be a better person and how to actually build a business in the right fashion and build it in the respectable way. One of the guys I really follow is Mr. Ratan Tata himself. I love the way he says that we are an industrialist and the rest of them are businessmen. So I want to be an industrialist like him and not just a businessman. So he speaks very well on that, and I love the way he does. So he's one of my biggest people I follow, and the guy gives one very good example. Sorry, I'm taking your time, but this is something which
Okay.
I'm talking about. The guy gives one very good example, and Mr. Ratan Tata actually believes and follows the example the best. Uh, they always say that when you grow bigger, you need to bow down more, and the tree starts a mango tree. Basically, when it grows bigger, it keeps putting its branches even more lower for you to be able to reap its fruits. I think that's what Ratan Tata does as well, and he's one of the most simplest in the. I met him once or twice in my life, and he's one of the most simplest and the most down to earth people I've ever seen in my life. Um, and that's what I want to be, and I want to walk that path one day, hopefully. So let's see how it goes. But that's one guy I really respect the way he does.
Wonderful. Wish that to see you in the path that you always want to keeping you in the prayers actually. Yes, Avinash sir?
Yes, so I get my news from way too many sources. I read ET, like Janice. I'm too much into news, the Ken, Mint, CNBC, etc. So too many sources. Books, yeah, I read a lot. Like when I mentioned, I try to read a lot. It's gone down a little off late, but trying to keep up. On people who are, who have influenced me or who influenced me, the three people actually. One is Elon Musk. I think he's a awesome entrepreneur. I believe he's the Steve Jobs of this era. I think Satya Nadella, amazing story, amazing person, really turned around Microsoft. Phenomenal leader. And another person who may not be that well known is Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V is a beautiful guy, very open about his ideas and how he has built a brilliant social media business. Amazing story from a wine seller to a social media guru. So those are the three guys that I really look up to.
Yes, Safid sir?
I think I'm also in the same path like Avinash said. So my two inspiration, maybe we can say that Steve Jobs, he bring the first disruption for the music industry with the iPod introduction. And after that, as you can see that the digital transformations started bringing with digital money with Elon Musk. So he is also doing a lot of disruption. And in the operation and scaling up perspective, like one of the biggest example, Satya Nadella from Microsoft, I personally met him also once he visited here in India. The energy that he is bringing is tremendous. And I regularly read business journals as well as the Harvard business reviews. So that help us to get a proper idea, like running a meeting effectively, management tips, how you can make the work-life balance better, those kind of things. And recently, some of the books like the things you can see only when you slow down, those kind of books, right? So that's give us a huge thought process when you especially sitting at home and doing a lot of things. So reading is one of my favorite way of getting knowledge, and the second thing is following up social media regularly. That will also help us to get more knowledge in this domain itself.
Right. Wonderful. So yes, Hitesh sir.
So, I might be an exception here because I'm not a very avid reader. I only read when I'm cornered and sent a book to write a review for some of the authors of my friends who are there. So I think probably the only book I've read fully, and when I say book, I mean actually a book. I read a lot of magazines, I read a lot of articles, is The Shoe Dog. And I think it's a phenomenal book. Nike has been, I worked for Nike for long in terms of as a client relationship. And I think Nike is a phenomenal organization. I read a lot of Entrepreneur, The Ken, TechCrunch, etc., because a lot of stuff that we plan to do has, there have been a lot of execution like mastermind stories which exist in corners. And as someone rightly has said, at least in the entrepreneurship world, that if you don't find a peer, then probably you're doing something wrong. Because if it was worth doing, then probably someone has done and already learned from the mistakes. At least they may not have done a phenomenal job, and hence I think there's a strong bias towards great executors. So while I love to read about Ratan Tata, Satya Nadella, etc., but I think I personally pick up a phone to a lot of friends and peers who have bet in respective forums to take their viewpoints on things which I personally feel is sort of like a roadblock, and that helps tremendously because whatever entrepreneurship does, it makes you more sharing. And I think if you call up a fellow entrepreneur and actually talk about a problem in your journey, which most of us don't, but I think I do that very often, and I think I get phenomenal responses. People talk about their individual sort of journeys. It's a lonely ride, and when it's a lonely ride, and you can't really talk to your employees, so I think that's when you pick up calls to your friends. And I think thankfully all of us during our journeys have seen tremendous ups and like super tremendous lows, and I think you have these 10 or 12 numbers which you can probably call, and I think you look forward to them, not for motivation, but to make sure that you're in the one corner of your mind, that I'm not alone, but you just want validations. And I think that's when it works very well. So I think, and then there are larger life figures who probably did the right thing at the right time and probably are very well known. So it's great to read about them, but I normally pick up calls when things go forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hitesh sir. Finally, Sanket sir.
Oh, I do read ET. That's a part of our daily routine. It helps me to keep up pace with the various changes that are happening in the market. I do follow Ratan Tata. He's kind of a fatherly figure to all of us working with Tata Group, most of the Tata employees. One thing that is one more source of information for me is my son. He is typically, he is a 9-year-old, but these days they are so upbeat with the latest technologies and latest that are going in the market. He kind of brings me into watch some of the YouTube channel that he follows, and one of them being there is a value-based. He calls it NAS Daily. These are 1-minute videos, but they give a lot of information on value-based, which kind of helps me in also trying to implement them within my own sales team. So these are the few.
I think Sanket sir is having trouble with this issue. So the best part of being in a business, as Richard Branson says, business opportunities are like buses. There's always one or the other coming. So even though if we are facing any obstacles, there's always an opportunity in that. So with that note, I would like to thank all the lovely speakers that joined us with us today for this CEO Talk Mumbai. It was such a pleasure in listening to all of you. Your inputs were indeed very insightful and productive. I hope you had a pleasant time with us. Until next time, in another interesting show, this is me, Muthu Prasanna, signing off. Thank you so much, all the lovely speakers for joining us today. Thank you.